Well, I had a little bit of an audio problem here, so we're going to have to go with a different camera mic this morning, but I think we'll be okay. If you ever had that that moment in your life where you realize that what you do and what you say are really not exactly the same? I mean, maybe you've got an ideal world in your head. You live in an imaginary world, or you live in a philosophical utopia. Everything is going to be okay because I want it to be okay. Or maybe you live in a world where everybody's out to get you and it doesn't really matter what you do, right or wrong, everybody's still against you. If you live in that kind of a world, then the challenges that you face, well, they always just keep coming. The question is, as a leader, do you live the life that you tell everybody that you want to live, or do you actually demonstrate something different than you say you believe? That's what I want to talk about today on Leading Leaders. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders podcast, and I know there are a lot of people out there who feel like if I just say what I believe long enough, it'll become true. And while there are some truths to the fact that the story you keep telling yourself in your head will eventually reshape your life, there's also a truth to the fact that we subconsciously behave in the way that we actually believe more than we behave in the way that we want to believe. We tend to do the things that we already believe to be true deep down in our heart, whether they're actually true or not. An example is fear. When we have fear in our lives, we're afraid of losing a relationship. They call it FOMO, fear of missing out. Your fear of losing a job or losing a relationship or losing an opportunity. So it causes you to kind of pounce on things left and right, whether you're actually prepared for them or not, whether they're even good ideas or not. You continue to pursue them because you feel like, well, if I don't do this, I got nothing. If I don't move on this, I'm going to miss the opportunity to. And when it gets away from me, I can't get back to it. There are a lot of people that kind of live their lives in that fear, even people in leadership. They're always reaching for the next shiny new object. They're always reaching for the newest system or the newest advancement or the newest opportunity. They'll leave one job to go find another job. They'll leave one career field to go find another career field. Now, some people are true, whether you want to call them a savant or a renaissance. They kind of master more than one. I have a friend who's an actor, a filmmaker, a licensed attorney, and a practicing physician. All of the above, and good at every one of them. But most people, they don't bounce from career field to career field like that, from educational discipline to educational discipline. Instead, what happens with many people is they feel like, I'm not getting the progress that I want in this field, so I'll try that one over there. Or I'm not getting the progress I want with this company, so I'm going to try that one over there. Now, how does that show up in leadership? Well, in leadership, it usually looks like, I believe I'm the only one that can figure this out, or I'm the only one that will get the task done, and so I'm not going to delegate it. I believe that I am the best at this role, and so it will take me longer to train somebody else to do it than it will just to do it myself. Now, there is some truth to that. But when the belief system begins to come through, what happens is, well, micromanagement. You get a manager who won't let anybody else do anything. They won't let them learn or grow or experience. They have no patience. They have no grace. They have no timeline to let somebody else achieve. They just want to get it done now. And if I have to do it myself, then that's what I will do. Now, there are also leaders who would say, I'm going to give you a really quick test on your potential or your capability. If the job entails these 10 things, if you can or cannot do these first 3, then I will know how good you really are. Now, the challenge with that, if you're the leader who uses a litmus test, if you will, to qualify new people, is that you might be asking someone who is like a flying squirrel to jump from one tree to the next to prove that they can fly. And if you're comparing them to the eagle, then your flying squirrel is going to be horrible, and you're never going to get the payoff that you want out of that, because flying squirrels can't do what eagles can do. But if you also have a fish on your team and you're asking your fish to leap from tree to tree, you're going to dismiss that fish in a heartbeat because they don't pass that litmus test, because that one thing or that one set of things that you're asking them to do isn't in their wheelhouse. Understood. Fair enough. But if your belief is that if they can't do these things, that they're no good for your team, then your belief is extremely limited and, dare I say, faulty. In fact, there are people that you will want on your team who look nothing like the rest of your team. People who have a skill set that match nothing that you've done in your past. In fact, you do want people on your team who have strengths where you have weaknesses, who can do things that you can't do, who can fill in gaps because you don't realize right now that they're gaps. In fact, you probably think, if I knew how to do that, I would have figured it out by now. If I needed to be good at that, I would be good at that. But see, that belief system, that limiting belief system especially, is part of what's keeping you down. It's keeping you from growing into other areas because you don't have the potential on your team to expand beyond what you already have. You've got a bunch of mini-me's, you've got a bunch of clones. But your belief about you, your belief about your system or your business or your company, your belief about the people that you've hired, it's demonstrated in everything you do every day. Now, don't feel like I'm picking on you if you're a leader. It's true of every human on earth. Now, we can't always articulate our belief system, but our behavior, our relationships, our work habits, our work ethic, they all demonstrate our actual belief system. Now, the challenge with that for a lot of people is they have a corrupted belief system, what they believe about themselves and their possibilities, what they believe about themselves and their potential, this fear of missing out, but also there's a fear of success. Maybe it's the fear of failure, but maybe it's a fear that I will become that rich person that I despise. And so that process is happening beneath the surface. Or you may not be saying outright, I hate rich people, but something in your subconscious mind says, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be like that. And your despise of people like that, whatever people like that look like or behave like, it's probably something that's conjured up in your mind, whether it's true or not, whether it's accurate or not. You're still living out that belief system in your life. You're still making decisions, hiring decisions and firing decisions, which clients you'll take on and which ones you won't, how much money you can lay out there at risk to move to the next venture, or how much you need to hold on to and be conservative where you are. See, all of these things are happening in the subconscious mind, way below the level of conscious thought, but they're still causing you to behave in a certain way. That behavior will dictate the success or failure in your life, not your conscious thought. That plays in a role, but the subconscious belief system that causes you to choose an employee, a customer, a client over another, that choose a line of work over another, to choose a daily pattern or system or habit, a ritual over another. Well, that comes from deep down in your belief system. And it will challenge the way that you actually function in life. You may get up and say, I'm going to do these 5 things today. And at the end of the day, none of those things are done. Because that belief system is still challenging your view of reality. It's still asking you, do you really believe that? I mean, you keep saying it, but do you really believe it? So if you find yourself in that place in your life where you realize that what you're saying and what you're doing are 2 totally different things, and they don't ever really come together, then I challenge you to sit down sometime with just a pen and a notebook and write out some of your core beliefs. Write out some of the things you believe to be true about yourself and the people around you. Write out some of the things you believe are your core values. What makes you tick? What is purpose to you? Why are you here on this earth? And as you begin to get a better look at some of those things, you're also going to be able to see through the lens of those things the career choices, the relationship choices, the educational choices, the financial investment or risk choices that you've made. You'll begin to see those through those lenses and realize what I said was important about where I put my money and where I actually put my money, those are not the same. And you will begin to see that what you truly believe inside, that's what drives your behavior. That's what drives your decision making, not just the words that come out of your mouth. Now, I do believe that story power is the power to change that belief system. It takes repetition, it takes intentionality, it takes presence, it takes focus, it takes beginning to tell a story of yourself that's closer to truth and reality than the one you've been holding on to. And the more you tell that story that lines up with reality, the more likely you will see success and results in your life to follow, because you will change your belief system. And it's a whole lot easier to believe a belief system that's based in truth than it is to be based in lies or ideas that others have sold you. I challenge you as a leader to realize when you're being inconsistent, when there's no congruity between what you say and what you do. And ask yourself, which one of the two, what I say or what I do, is closer to what I truly believe at heart? The closer you get to understanding your own belief system, the closer you'll get to integrity in the way you operate. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.